Hello and welcome to Handyman Stan Builds a Van. And today on this episode, I am realizing that as I'm doing the framing, I am going up to the ceiling and I need to take this piece of wood off and cut holes in this here ceiling. And so that needs to be done. Why am I cutting holes in the ceiling, you might ask? Well, I have two of these very cool fans. A neat thing about this fan, this is not the high-end fan, but the important thing on this is it has a control here that will suck air in, or you could spin it the other way and blow air out. This is the reason why we're cutting two holes, because I have two of these fans. And one of them I think is going to go right here. The other one's going to go back to the back. One will pull air in, and the other one's going to take the hot air and push it back out. So in that way, it's nice and comfortable in here on those very warm days. So I've been dreading this moment of taking this piece of plywood off, but it needs to be done, and so today's the day that we do it. So there's only one thing to do, and that's to get to it. That down. Now what I'm going to do is measure about where I want the fan. I want the fan as far forward as I can right now to create as much airflow. Also, that would put the fan kind of over the toilet because we've decided that the toilet's going to go right behind the driver's seat. So that's here. The other thing that I'm going to do is, since I do have a good mask from another job that I do, I am going to actually wear that just for extra protection on working with this insulation. So, gonna put that on, take some measurements, and then start cutting and marking and working on this fan. So I've got some holes drilled for reference points from the bottom side here. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is go up on top and use this surround as a guide, because this will be the thing that comes down and through, and use this as a template to draw the square of what we're going to do. So let's go up on top. Hello, welcome to the top of the van. Here we are. I've got the four holes drilled right here, and I've got the surround here, and I've got some marks on about where I want it, but you know, gotta fit a little and kind of go from there and decide exactly where I want to drop it through. So, yeah, here we go. I realized that the piece that I brought up, this one here, is the surround that goes from underneath. And this lip is larger than this one up here, sort of. The outside matches. But the inside, this is smaller than what needs to go through the hole. What needs to go through the hole is this surround here. So glad I checked, because I would have cut that hole a little bit too small. So now let's do it with this as a template. Towards the end of that kind of felt like a wily coyote. Yeah. I'm like, feel like I'm gonna fall in with it, but there's a hole in the roof now. Yay! The only thing is, I think I cut on the wrong line, but that's okay because the wrong line was too close. I'm gonna test fit this thing over here. Let's see if I'm right. I'm going to have to cut this hole a little bit bigger. Let's see. Yep, I need to cut out a little bit more, but it's always good to need a little bit more than a little bit less. So, yep, we're on the wrong line on that side there. Might even need some more in the front or back, because that side feels like it's not dropped in either. So now to open this hole up a little bit more so the fan will fit in. There we are. It fits nice and snug in there. And so that's good. What's going to happen here, we've got the hinges on this side, which that's the front of the van over there. And so when it does open up, it will open this way, just in case she starts driving with this open. Then at least it doesn't catch in the wind. Now, she should never drive with these open, but if she starts driving and she's like, oh my gosh, what's that noise, that wind noise, let me pull over, then at least they won't be damaged. So that's why the hinge side goes on the front. There is the possibility of getting a vent cover for this. That's something that I have on my RVs, and it allows you to actually drive with this open and also keep this open while it's raining, so rain doesn't get in here. But that's all at expense, and that's all stuff that we can do later. It doesn't need to be done right now. The important thing is the fan itself. And so that's in there pretty good. So now we're going to secure it to the roof, and this needs to be fit from the inside and measured, and this probably will need to be cut down as well. I probably won't be doing much of that part today because I do need to get the roofing in place first, but it's at least a start, and I can start measuring for the roof. But there we go. We've got a fan started. So now I'm going to start working on the other fan. So I've got the back cut out, or at least removed from the insulation on top. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up on top. I just drilled one single hole through the exact middle of where I want it. I'm actually going to make a 11-inch by 11-inch square template out of wood that should make it a little easier to find exactly where I want to put this. But I did want to show you that that's how the fan operates as far as opening. And so now there's more sun shining in, and there's more airflow there, and when I twist it closed, it's now sealed up, theoretically. There's no insulation, or there's no caulking around it, which I will do soon enough, but I want to work on the roof before I do that. But for right now, to keep max amount of airflow through here, I'm going to open that up and leave it open. Now I'm going to go up on the roof and cut the hole from there after I make the template. So that's my next steps. Here I am up on the roof. So the trick that I've come up with is I've got my template here, and I'm just going to grab a screw and go through the center of that template, and then through my hole that I had cut earlier, square it up. Of course, I didn't bring my measuring tape up with me, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. That looks pretty good right about there, actually. Yeah. And then I am going to mark it out. And this is where I need to cut. that. So there's my 11 by 11 marking. And I can get rid of that now. Yeah, that looks pretty square. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in a little bit from each of the corners and put my drill in drill mode and hammer mode, and ooh, it's dancing all around. I gotta get better grip on it. There we go. There we go. So that's one hole, and I'm just going to keep doing this around, and then I'm going to open them up. I go all the way up to 1/2 inch, and then I use my saw there to cut it. So that's how I'm going to do it. Let's get to doing it. Let's give it a test. Wires, maybe. I am so close, and yet so far. Let's see what we did here. I missed my line. It's close. I just gotta do a little cleanup here. Maybe shave out a little bit. But it's pretty darn close. So I'm going to clean this up, and then we'll go back inside and start on the next thing. Alright, so I got the fans up. That's all good. Now I've got the roof, and this needs to go back in. But before I put it back in, I need to prep it with wiring for both the fans and the lights that we're going to put up. So I'm going to cut a few holes in this one. I'm actually going to cut 6 holes in this one and 2 in the other one that I have over there when we get to that for the lights. And then I've got to run wires, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the wires to the back of this, and I'm only going to cut 1-inch holes on here, even though my lights need 2-inch holes, because we're going to put flooring boards on this, so in that way it makes the roof look nice. But I want to cut the final hole through the flooring board, but I want to be able to reach in there and grab the wires, so, you know, just make sure everything's okay and tuck back before I actually cut for the final time. So that's what needs to happen next. Here I go. So I've got the wiring for the lights down. Now I've got to do the wiring for the front fan, and I'll bring that back, and I'll put the rear fan on the other board because that goes on the rear board, and then we put it up. Now to see if I can get this board in place. Okay, that's in. Thanks to my partner for helping me out get that up. She's going to help me do the other one here in a second. This one here, we need to cut 2 holes in so I can fish the wire through for the lights. And I've got wires for the fan that's going to come back here because the fan's somewhere in this area. So got to cut the holes for the lights. Then we put it in. Now for the tricky part, to put it in and fish the wires through at the same time. That's enough for today. We've got the wiring pulled through. We've got wiring set up for the fans. We don't have the holes cut for the fans, but I'm going to save that. I do have the fans in place. even though they're just sitting there. Hopefully they won't blow away overnight. That's a good point. I just realized I left them open, so I probably should climb up there and do something with them. But either way, that's pretty much all I'm going to do for today here. I'll start in tomorrow with putting the roof, the ceiling interior on, and then once that's on, as I go, I'm going to cut out circles for the lights, and then once it's in place, then I'm going to cut out the holes for the fans on top, so in that way it's nice clean cut all the way through. And that's what I have in store for tomorrow. But today is done. So do me a favor, click subscribe, share this video, go down into the comments. We have this GoFundMe and we need help. Shout out to my godfather Mike, who was a donor already on that. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. We've got quite a goal there, but there's a lot more that needs to be purchased for this van, and anything you can do to help, we would greatly appreciate it. If you would prefer to Venmo it or do another form of payment other than GoFundMe, that's fine. Reach out to me or the client if you know her, and we will get you in touch with her or me or whatever to get funding. Either way, we can use your help if you don't mind. We would greatly appreciate it. There's still flooring that needs to be done and curtains and all kinds of stuff. But that's enough for today. So I will see you on the next one.